I'm so happy to be with you, Roy Castleman, my dear friend.
Hey, Catherine, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be with you.
Good.
We're gonna
Good to be
chat.
here.
You are. I'm great. Great. Happy that you're happy to be here. It's really fun. We've been talking about doing this for a while, so I'm happy
Mhm.
we have the time. I really, we're gonna flow into conversation. There's so many things I want to touch upon with you. But
Mhm.
first, I want to say, I just realized as I said your name, your last name is just really amazing. It's the man of the castle, basically.
Let me tell
Castle.
you a small story.
Tell me a story.
My first name is Roy. Roy means king.
King. Yes.
My second name is Lancelot.
Oh, God.
My parents were, well, my father had a sense of humor. And I used to live in the penthouse in King's Tower.
Wow. So, what does that say about you, my dear friend?
But I don't know. I'm really not sure.
Well,
Yeah.
for me, my experience of you, we've known each other now for, has it been a year already? A
Yeah.
year through meditation and through the work. We've been working with Dr. Joe, and so I've known you a year. And I would say one thing about you is what when I think of you, I think of someone who's sovereign. So it makes sense, you're a roi or a roi in French. There's a
Mhm.
sovereignty, and there's what you inspire in me is the just do it, that energy of just do it, you know?
You've only
So,
got one chance, eh? You've only got one chance.
yeah, you really own that, huh?
Mhm.
I'd
I'll tell you why.
love,
I'll tell you
yeah,
why
tell me.
I own that. So I'll tell you why I own that. I was 19 years old, and I was with my girlfriend, and we were out, and we had got into a massive argument, and I decided that I'd had enough. We've so full of emotions and yeah, all those things when you're growing up. So I decided to leave, and this was in Durban in South Africa, and I left and I hitchhiked away from Durban. I was just going to go, so I don't know where I was going, but I was going. I was out of there. And I hitchhiked for quite a while, and then I got dropped off, and I was on the motorway, and at the top of the motorway, I was hitchhiking, and yeah, heard a funny noise, turned around, and as I turned around, a drunken driver had fallen asleep, and he came, yeah, the car just came towards me. His bumper hit my right leg. My head went through his windscreen, so that's why I've got this long scar down here. My arm went, I can see it's a bit bent, went round and broke off on his mirror. And I was thrown into the middle of the road. And I was laying in the middle of the road, and these two amazing Samaritans stopped and they saw the whole thing. And they stopped and they actually moved me. So I was lying on the white line because it was still middle of the motorway, the car shooting past. And I was laying there. I still didn't pass out, but I was laying there. And you know what I was thinking about? I wasn't thinking about anything that I'd done, but I was regretting the things I hadn't done.
Uh,
Yeah, I was regretting that I hadn't told my mom I loved her. Yeah, I hadn't gone skydiving. I hadn't done this. I hadn't done that. And
yeah,
yeah, and I didn't know whether I was going to live or die. Yeah, and I was like, okay, if I get through this, I'm going to do everything in my life that I want to do. Yeah, and then the ambulance people arrived and they picked me up, but they picked me up underneath my knee, and my foot fell off because both of the bones were. And then I passed out gratefully and woke up in the hospital.
God.
So, but one of the more formative things in my life, but also one of the best things that could have happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to take these things and flip them around, and
It changed you,
uh,
huh? It changed.
it just gave me. I mean, I've always had a drive. I've always
Yeah,
yeah always been driven. And coming from South Africa, I think that's just part of the nature.
yeah.
And but that was like yeah. Oh, if I see something I want to do, I go and do it.
That's amazing. Well, I mean, it brings tears to my eyes. I mean, I knew this story, but to hear you say it again, I just, you know, it's the truth, right? Of when we face death, or everybody who's been through that. It's like it's the regrets that are weighing on the heart, and what moves me is that you did something with that. It's still with you because
Yeah.
you experienced that almost going there into the other realm,
And it's
right?
this piece of, it just gives you the real understanding that you never know. You never
Yeah,
know how many more minutes you've got,
yeah,
let alone how many more days or how many more, anything else. You don't know how many more minutes you've got.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
use the one you've got.
yeah.
Be the best you can out of it. Have the most fun. Do stuff that lights up your life, lights up your heart, makes you smile, makes other people smile. It's just, yeah,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
not? Right? You've
Why
only got
not? There's
one,
nothing to lose, right? You know, as
exactly.
you say this, I mean, of course, at first, I'm so happy you're still here on the planet, really. That's a powerful experience. We don't wish that upon ourselves or anyone, right? But,
Mhm.
you know, at the same time, what I'm hearing is how to live with death, you know, and the idea of our mortality can be really an ally for us to show up in our lives differently, right? Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of us, we just don't want, we don't, in our society, in our, at least here in North America, I don't know in South Africa, but we don't talk about death a lot. We don't really want to, it's not part of our ecosystem a lot, you know, it's something we kind of hide or don't talk about. And, but
People
when
are
I
scared.
mean,
People are so scared of death as well.
yeah,
Yeah, and for whatever reason, I think that made me a lot less scared of death. It's
yeah,
coming. Yeah, there's the two of us. We're both gonna die. Yeah.
me too. Yeah.
Well, who knows these days with all the
Who
virus?
knows these days with all the new stuff, but yeah, but it's true, and it's like to remember that, not in a grim way, but like,
Yeah.
and I feel, you know, I've always kind of had that in my heart, you know. I've never faced like you that, well, no, that's not true. I got stung by a scorpion when I was in my 20s in the middle of the desert with a bunch of hippies, which I love them, but we had no car, we had nothing. And I remember when that happened, thinking, okay, this is how I'm going out. And I was lying in the sand in the desert with all these hippies around me, singing and chanting Kumbaya. Thank God there was one of them that had a little stone that he could suck out the venom. It was this
Mhm.
African stone thing, and he put it on my bite. And but I remember feeling that moment of calm and almost finding it funny. There was this part of me saying, "Oh boy, Catherine Barr, you've taken yourself seriously, and this is how you're going to die." My butt, you know, my butt to the moon, my naked butt facing everyone, which was a part of my body I've never really wanted to. It's not my thing to show my butt. My butt is
I don't believe you,
naked.
Catherine. I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, it's not the part of me I would, you know, but I was like, oh God, here you are. You might die like this. And it's like I had this moment of the cosmic joke, but not in a disrespectful way, but in a real like, wow, I've taken myself so seriously. And that lasted with me for a few days. And then I went back into my old, you know, structure of room. But I think these moments living with death and in a way that can remind us to be bold, you know,
Yeah,
and that's what you have. You have that.
yeah. I'll
Well,
try.
you try. I don't want to idealize you either. You know, I know you're
Yeah.
human. And so what would you say to people like, you know, because most people haven't been necessarily on that brink of, you know, thinking they're going to die, but how can we go get that energy, you know, really, because it's facing fears, right? I mean, what's keeping us from living our fullness, trying things out?
Yeah, I love that story about, go and do something that scares you every day. Yeah. And I also, what I'm encouraging people to do now is you don't know what you don't try. You really don't know what you don't try.
Yeah,
And yeah, how do you know if you like something or don't like something? Yeah, if you don't try it. Yeah, you
yeah,
might find you do something crazy. I remember, as you know, I skydive, and one of the years we took I took my staff to go skydiving,
yeah,
and yeah, one of the young ladies or the guys was there. We all went up, and they did a tandem, And skydiving is very much that thing where, you know, you, you stand on the edge, and you have to take a step, and you're taking a step totally into the unknown, totally, you have to give up. You just have to let everything go, because you can't get out the plane otherwise. Your whole body would
Oh,
just
you're
stop
just talking
feeling.
about it. I feel like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah,
And you end up having all these kind of, oh, my ankle's sore, I've got a headache. What am I doing here? And then you step out and you step into freedom. You literally step into freedom. Yeah, and then there's just, yeah, because there's nothing else you can do, right? You've taken the decision, you've gone, you've, you know, step and go. You've really kind of gone there, and then you just realize that's because then there's total clarity. Your mind's clear. Yeah, yeah, anything that's important is with you, and anything that's not important is not. And what you realize in those moments, yeah, is that the moment is important. Now is important. That's all we have. You know,
yeah,
because I firmly believe we all see the world from totally different eyes. And but what's your view? What's your vision? You know, what are the
yeah,
things that, make you light you up? And it's like, death. We can talk about death, and we can talk about all these things, and but we're here to live.
yeah,
Yeah, we're here to live our very best lives, and if we don't know what we enjoy, if we don't understand, along that journey exactly what it is that we like, then we're not going to live our best lives, because we're never going to experience something, that we're going to miss something.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, I've been really blessed. I really have been blessed. I'm so lucky to be able to have tried the variety of things I've tried. Yeah.
Well,
Mm.
you've been invited, but you stepped in, right? So I hear you've been blessed. I see your gratitude, but I also want to acknowledge you as being, of facing your fears and you're just talking about skydiving, and I can feel my body tensing. And it's a beautiful example of how the body doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. Because as you're talking, I'm feeling my heart beat faster and tensing.
Yeah,
And it's like, and we're at, fear is a way to survive also as animals, as beings,
yeah, yeah,
keeping our
yeah.
body here on the 3D. Fear can be an ally too, but I think a lot of us, and I include myself definitely, because that's an issue for me, stepping out of the comfort zone, trying something that's scary, and it changes our biology, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have? I mean, I guess they did researches on people who, before they jump off the plane and after, what's happening in their body. Do you know anything around that, or
But I don't actually know.
no? No, because I would
Yeah, yeah.
imagine,
I
because
mean,
people,
they probably have done some,
yeah,
but
yeah,
skydivers are quite a small part of the world, right?
yeah,
Yeah, there's not very many people that do it on a regular basis,
yeah.
and yeah, I guess less than have done it as many times as I've done it. So
How many times have you jumped out of a plane, Roy?
2,500.
You're kidding me?
No, no.
2,500
Mm,
times?
yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Competed in the British Nationals 6 times. Um, got a British world record, actually a British record in skydiving.
You're kidding
Um,
me.
and yeah, it's taken me all around the world, met amazing people. Yeah, and just it's just opened up my eyes to travel. I mean, I love to travel anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but being able to travel somewhere, I mean, I can literally get in a plane now, and go off to any country in the world, find a drop zone, and you have a family there. Yeah.
Mm.
You scuba dive as well, don't you, Catherine?
I've never scuba dived.
No,
No, no,
uh,
no. I
uh,
am. I am. I maybe I don't want to compare myself to you, but I'm more of someone who would stay. Those things frighten me more. I need to learn to scare myself a bit more. In that sense, to gain more freedom, to gain more. So that's why I think I
it's
admire
to
you
gain
so
one,
much.
it's more understanding, right? I think it's understanding as
Yeah,
much as, because the things you're scared of never happen.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, how many times have you been scared of something happening?
Yeah,
Yeah, and of those times that you were scared of it,
yeah,
if you actually really think about it, properly sit back and think about it, how many of them actually happened?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
How many times have you been scared of doing something, you've done it, and it was actually fine? It was
yeah,
actually good. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so those things you're scared of, quite often I find that they're a real draw for me, because those are the things that I have to push myself through a certain bit of uncomfort and discomfort.
Yeah.
And by going through that discomfort, I actually learn more about myself.
Mm.
And it opens my eyes. And I think it's so important to be able to see the world through other people's eyes.
Mm.
Yeah, and if you can't see the world through if you can't do what they're doing, and I don't think you can ever see it through the eyes because you never get all of the experiences. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't, push yourself, and see as many things as possible, you're not. I don't feel I would be as well rounded,
Yeah.
as I like to think I am. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
love
was just
that. Yeah.
I was thinking about because I used to before all of this, I used to scuba dive a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in South Africa, so it's a beautiful, beautiful country. And the nature is amazing, and the mountains are amazing. And I lived in Durban, and we would literally get up in the morning and go down to our local beach, and there's a little pier down there, little, called Veggies Pier, and we'd go out, had the scuba gear in the back of the car, and we go out and dive along the pier before breakfast. And
Mm.
I had the one day we went out, and it was just a normal day, nothing too special. And I could just hear this noise in the distance. And I thought, oh, what's that? And you've got a BCD on, so you've got this big kit on, and you've got this basically something you can blow air into so you can float or sink. And so I blew air a couple of times, and I could hear it coming closer. And the next thing, we were just surrounded by 200 or 300 dolphins that came closer.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were literally sitting there, standing like on our knees on the sand. It wasn't too deep; it was maybe 5 or 6 meters, and all these dolphins, the pods of
Oh
dolphins.
man.
Past. And those
Beautiful.
experiences are so valuable that there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
You have to be in their environment. You have to be in their space. You have to be
Yeah.
and it's just the way to do that is to go and put yourself into something you're not that comfortable
Yeah,
with.
exactly. It's like you're stepping out of our comfort zone so life can find us and play with us a bit more, And I think when we stay, I know when I stay too much in my comfort zone, it's safe, but fall asleep, There's the need for change and creativity in us, We're humans. We need that, right? And so it's like finding that balance between being safe or safe enough,
Mm-hmm.
And not letting that, like you said, our imagination, because I think it's Mark Twain that said, is it Mark Twain? Maybe, I don't know. Some writer said, so many terrible, horrible things happened to me in my life. And most of them were in my mind. Something like that. I'm butchering the quote, but it's
But I
so,
agree.
yeah, and I agree too,
Yeah.
because I can make up these ideas, these stories in my mind and my body, not knowing the difference between imagination and reality,
Yeah,
freaks the hell out, right? And there's no more room for growth. And then I think that's where we also get caught up in our little chambers. All of us, we stay.
My,
Well,
my challenge for you is this, Catherine.
tell me. Oh no,
Right.
is this recorded? I can cut this out of the.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
Write down 10 things that scare you.
Yeah, yeah,
Write down
yeah,
10 things that scare you.
yeah, yeah,
Slowly
yeah.
but surely work. Then go and use your logical brain to see how dangerous they actually are.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and then see if you can work yourself to go and doing a couple of them. You don't go and do all of them, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
You go and do the ones at the bottom of the list that don't scare you too much, and you'll get a bit more confidence, and then you can
Yeah,
go and do the next one, and you get a bit more
exactly.
confidence, and before you know it, you'll be doing things that you didn't even think was possible. Yeah,
Exactly.
and I also just want to say though that yeah, don't belittle in any way what you've done already, because just
No.
because you don't go and do exciting things, it doesn't mean you have things that you've done that are amazing, and you've obviously you've brought this healing community along with us, and that's been an amazing journey, and
Yeah,
lots of the things you do, the work you do with people.
yeah,
There's so much in that. We don't, unless we really go out and make the time for this stuff. Sometimes we just don't. We don't realize actually I need to make time for myself. I need to
yeah,
make time for growth. I need to make time for chasing my dreams and going towards my visions, and
Yeah, I love what you're bringing. First, the list. So it's I'm going to take that to heart, and anyone who's listening to us, I love that. That's a very practical. Write 10 things, and I like the fact that you say don't start too big. Let's do little steps and things that scare me, and then really look at it with our rationality, because I know that for me it's helped me, because I used to have a humongous phobia of flying. And I would fly anyway because my need to travel was stronger, which is a
yeah,
good thing. But if I hadn't had that need to travel, I would have probably been the kind of person who would never take a plane. And I really am so proud of myself. I'm really proud, Roy, because I used to be the person who had to take Xanax, and even on Xanax, I was like an animal going to get butchered. Like my nervous system was in overdrive. I had all these. I thought I was the one keeping the plane up by my prayers. So I was in this whole thing, and now I'm able to fly alone. I flew recently.
good job, you.
I fly alone. I have a little bit of butterflies in the stomach, but what I've been learning to do is to say that's excitement, not fear.
Yeah,
And I've worked myself, I mean, from that excessive point to where I am now, it's maybe 5 years of training myself, watching videos of planes taking off and breathing with it, using my knowledge also to really understand, the risk,
yeah.
and just
That's I mean that's so important. Bringing the logic in and saying, actually, what is it actually? How risky is it?
is it exactly what are the real dangers here, right?
Yeah, and then you've got risk against reward, right? It's risk and reward.
Exactly. So I love that idea. And I love also what you brought up of saying, look at what you've already accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think that for some of us, and include myself, I could compare myself to you and say, oh my God, I've done nothing. I haven't jumped out of a plane. I haven't, but I've done other things that
Done
for other
loads, yeah.
people, that's their, I have a friend of mine who says to me, I don't even know how you do videos on YouTube. I could never do that. Or I could never do a workshop. For them, that's their terror point.
Never is not a real word in my vocabulary.
Which one?
Never.
Never. Yeah, you don't use that word. Yeah, yeah. But my point is, we each have our successes and our zones of challenge, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that
So
also.
that's yeah. Do that. Do pick something different every month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Do it as a year long challenge and give yourself 1 month go bungee jumping or 1 month
Oh
go.
God. Okay. Let's start. Yeah, you're going right up there, Roy. Let's just go a bit lower. I could do, scuba diving, or, but like doing this video, I mean, there's a little bit of fear. It's like owning the fact of, really owning the fact that I want to have these conversations with people. There's a little bit of fear. And then I have to say, well, what is really dangerous?
Mhm. What is that? Well, there are two things. One is dangerous for sure,
Yeah.
but yeah, I always think about what can you do that other people can't. And yeah, I started working with a lady called Sarah Rose, about 2 years ago. Okay, and Sarah has 5 different autoimmune diseases and fibromyalgia, and she's had a thyroid out. Yeah, and she was basically in bed in the morning. She'd get up, she'd take 12 different tablets, she'd stay in bed, yeah, and then she'd get up, try and feed the kids. Yeah, if she could take them to school, if not, she'd go back to bed. Yeah, and then get up at 3 o'clock, take more tablets, and that was her life. Right? And we worked together. She came to one of my workshops, and we were talking about autoimmune, and I was talking about how the Wim Hof method can help with autoimmune diseases. And when she walked in the door, she said, "I'm not getting in that damn ice. Do the breath work." She didn't quite say it in that polite way, but she's not getting in the ice.
You can
So,
swear on my channel.
yeah. So I'm like, okay, it's okay. You do whatever you want to, and why is that? And
Yeah.
we spoke, and then she did get in the ice, yeah. And I've just been with her on a whole journey. She actually works for me now, and she went from not being, I mean, she was literally wheelchair bound most of the time,
God,
right? Yeah,
God.
her husband had remodeled the whole house so she could get a wheelchair around. Okay, and yeah, she got into the ice, and she knew that that was going to be something that would help her. She just
Mm.
had like this epiphany that was going to be something that helped her. Yeah, and she came back to the next workshop and the next one, and she started a group of cold swimmers. Yeah, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, she actually went to Poland, and she qualified as a Wim Hof instructor.
Oh God.
Yeah, flew to Poland by herself, qualified as a Wim Hof instructor. Yeah, she sold her car. She sent her car back. She had a car, a disability car. She sent the car back, yeah, and got her own car. She sold her wheelchair, yeah, and she's living a life that she wouldn't have thought possible. Yeah, so I get the idea that yeah, there are lots of people that aren't as fortunate as us. Yeah, I really do come from that. So do the things that you
Yeah,
can do. Do the
yeah,
things, that's what I say, that scare you. Yeah,
yeah.
and push yourself just that little bit further. Because if you can push
Well,
yourself a little bit further, you don't know how far you can go. You never know. Yeah,
exactly.
you speak to Sarah, and she was, yeah, she's really inspiring. She really is
She's
inspiring.
so inspiring. This story is so inspiring. And so let's talk about the Wim Hof because you're an instructor, you went you it's really a big part of what you offer.
Mhm.
And everyone has access to cold water, I hope, or maybe not, but I mean in Canada we definitely and soon we'll have access to cold
Yeah.
snow. So, you know,
Yeah.
what is it about this? Tell us a bit about the impact that
Well,
this
yeah,
breathing, cold,
breathing cold.
shocking a bit the body into,
It's again. I mean, I had lived the life of a businessman. Yeah,
yeah.
I had pushed myself mentally, stress wise, physically. Yeah, I wasn't in good shape at all. Yeah, I was probably 30 odd kilos more than I am now. So yeah, I was really heavy, and yeah, I got into the one of the businesses that I was in, and the stress was really really high. In 2015, I'd flown in doing indoor skydiving, and I flew into the wall and I dislocated my AC joint. Yeah,
Oh,
I do lots of
okay.
body damaging. Yeah, it has to be well worn when I'm finished with it. Yeah, and I flew into the wall in 2015. But by the end of 2019, I actually, sorry, 2020, I was in this workspace where I just really, it was like this, it was really pulling me down. And I lost the use of my arm because I didn't have
Gosh.
the dislocation fixed. Yeah, I just left it for 5 years. Yeah, I took too many ibuprofen. I just
Mm,
destroyed my stomach. And yeah, I decided I had to do something to repair myself. Yeah, and what was that going to be? And they told me it was a 4.5 months recovery. And I didn't have time for that. So I said, okay, let me find the fastest possible way that I can fix myself. And I went looking online. I got a book. Where is this? Not up here, but it's Tim Ferriss. Yeah,
yeah.
Tools for Titans.
Tools
Um,
for what?
for Titans.
For Titans.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's got all
Oh,
these different chapters of all different people that he's kind of interviewed, and he's
yeah.
dug into the method. And one of them was Wim Hof. And I'm from South Africa. The thing in the sky, the big red thing that actually works. Yeah, in the UK, I'm living in the UK now, and it doesn't in the UK. And so cold. I didn't like cold much at all. Yeah, it wasn't my thing. So I looked at it and I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. And I jumped in with both feet because I normally do. And yeah, got into the breath work. Yeah, breath work is just so powerful. So the Wim Hof method is breath work, cold exposure, and commitment. And
Mm,
really, for me, what it is, it's the way that we actually take our bodies back to working how they should work, our bodies and our minds. Because if you think about the evolution of humankind, up until the last 100 years, we always had cold
yeah.
exposure. We were always cold. Even if you had a house and you had something, there was always a period where we were cold, and that's the body's way of resetting.
Mm,
That's the body's way of saying, okay, well, yeah, I now need to, reset myself and be the best version I can for this period.
mm,
And then the breath work as well. We eat, okay, and we know if we don't eat, that we'll die in 5 weeks. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And we know we should eat properly, and we know what we should eat, and we all learn about that, and we've got this understanding of diets. Yeah, we drink, and we
Yeah.
know if we don't drink, we're going to die in 5 days, maybe 10 days if you go properly. And we know we should drink water, and we know we should do, how we should do that, and hydrate ourselves. If we don't breathe for 5 minutes, we die. But do
Yeah.
we know how to breathe?
Do we know how to, are we really breathing fully,
Yeah,
right? Yeah. Yeah.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
No, hang
You
on.
got someone coming.
No, I've just got one of these irritating things on the screen saying you're getting an update. You want to restart the browser?
Wrong timing.
It's giving
But
me an option of
it's like, not
pass the
now.
card.
But
Yeah,
that's so important what you're saying, because the breath, and we know that when we're stressed, we don't breathe the same.
yeah,
And like we said, the body doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So there's a powerful tool there to change your chemistry and your mindset really fast, right?
yeah. And
I,
when I first did the breath work properly, I was like, it just blew my mind.
yeah,
I was 49 years old and I didn't know how to breathe.
yeah,
Yeah, so I dug into it, and then I dug into the cold. Yeah, I remember the first time I did the cold exposure, I shat myself. Honestly, I was.
really?
Yeah, yeah. I was in. I had this. I bought this adventure center in Bedford, and it had an indoor skydiving, indoor surfing, it had all these amazing things. And I had. It was in the middle of COVID. I had staff that I was. It was just so stressful, and I decided I was going to do this ice bath, and there were suddenly 7 or 8 people that were watching me. So now I had to do it. Right, and I didn't have any training. I'd read the book. I hadn't gone
You
to a
had
workshop.
never done it before, you decided to do it in front of others for the first time?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
I didn't really decide. It kind of happened.
It kind of happened.
Yeah.
Oh,
And we had literally we filled this bucket up with ice, and for the day before, and I'd read about all the blood. I had high blood pressure, and you shouldn't do it with high blood pressure, and yeah, I was just breaking all the rules. And yeah, I remember I went down, and I was literally like going for a skydive the very first time. I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't really know what I'm doing. Why am
yeah,
I doing this? And then I got into the water and I had the shock, and it was like I'm not going to let it get the better of me, and I stayed in, and then just after you get to about a minute and a half in there, and everything just goes, poof, and you just get this massive endorphin rush, and you're just laughing like a crazy person, and you just feel amazing,
mm,
yeah,
mm.
and yeah, and that was me. I was hooked. So yeah, that was really really quite amazing. So yeah.
After the shitting yourself part, I mean, but
Yeah, and
but
that's
you
that's
you saw
that's
that.
that's the thing there.
Yeah, tell me.
You have to shit yourself first, otherwise the thing isn't that useful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
metaphorically, you're okay.
metaphorically. Yeah. Well, practically as well, really. You don't shit, you die.
Yeah, but what I
Yeah.
love about this, and it's amazing that this technology is coming back in, because this is ancient, right? I mean, this is ancient stuff. I mean, the Tibetan
Yeah.
monks who were doing their breath work on snow and melting the snow around them. And I love that this is coming back to us in our
Mhm.
consciousness, and that it's not just a little segment of society that can do this with technology, it's everyone.
Mhm.
Can you lead us into a little? Let's try it out. Can we do that here and now for everyone who's listening? Just to like maybe a 2 minute kind of just
Okay, so
breathing
we're gonna do.
differently and seeing
Yeah.
seeing the impact it has on us here and now.
Okay,
Let's try that.
so
I know I need it, so do it for me.
we're gonna do two things, right?
Okay.
Firstly, I want you to breathe in. Let me explain. I'm going to breathe in again. So you breathe in and hold it, breathe in some more, and then breathe in some more, and then sigh it out.
With the nose that I breathe in?
Mouth or nose, it doesn't matter.
Okay,
So
no different.
and this
Okay.
one. So breathe in, hold it, in, more, in, as much as you can, and and straight in, more, all the way, and one more. In, 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 just just
And
shake it off a little
yeah.
bit.
right away I
Yeah.
feel the
And that's something really useful. Yeah, if you do that, yeah, 5 times or 10 times a day, yeah, just do it 4 or 5 times and then do it. Yeah, whenever you're feeling a little bit stressed, you can do that. Now we're going to do one of my favorites, which is box breathing. And
box
box
breathing.
breathing, yeah, box breathing. So many people know about box breathing, but they don't know why. And the why of box breathing is when you go into box breathing, you bring your number of breaths per minute down to the right number to relax, and you're taking yourself out of the sympathetic nervous system into the parasympathetic. And how you can tell this normally is you actually get a little bit of the saliva in the back of your mouth. You know, when you see that chocolate cake,
Yeah.
yeah, if that's your thing, you get that. That's because you're
Bag of
going
chips. Bag of chips.
chips. That's because you're going into the parasympathetic, and that's your rest and digest system. Yeah, so that's how you can tell if you're going back into parasympathetic.
Okay,
So
so
what I
that's
want to,
important. Just want to, so for people who don't know, sympathetic is the fight, flight, freeze. It's the I have to do something, run away, survival. So there's no room for digestion in that space, right?
there's
Okay.
no room for digestion or for growing or for
Or
anything else.
learning or
Yeah,
opening your heart and loving. Yeah. Okay.
uh, yeah, and where
Okay.
all the good stuff happens.
All the good stuff.
Well, actually, sympathetic is very, very
Yeah.
useful.
Yes.
Yeah, it serves as a very good purpose, but unfortunately, we all seem to live there. Yeah, because that, as you were saying, your mind doesn't know about a memory so every time you think about something that's bad, you go back into sympathetic just from your thoughts. So
Exactly.
it doesn't need to be a tiger chasing you. It can just be thoughts of a
It can
tiger
be your
chasing.
boss. It can be the
Yeah,
delay. Yeah. It can. Yeah.
all these
Okay.
things.
So
So now
parasympathetic to sympathetic to
sympathetic to
parasympathetic.
parasympathetic. Yeah.
Okay. Box breathing.
Box breathing. So I want you to breathe into your nose, and I want you on the second or third breath, I want you to close your eyes and just relax into it. But I just want to see, I want you to see how you're feeling at the moment. Yeah, and then we'll see how you're feeling in a couple of minutes. Okay.
Okay.
So here we go. We're going in to the count of four. 1, 2, 3, 4. You hold 1, 2, 3, 4, and out 4, 3, 2, 1, and hold 4, 3, 2, 1, and in 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. In 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. In 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Now breathing in gently and out gently, and come back to the room. And you can just see your energy back coming back down again.
It
That was about a minute and a half.
a minute and a half. It's
Yeah,
so
this is the
quick.
power of breath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. As soon as you're in that situation where you're feeling overstressed,
Yeah.
yeah, then yeah, go take yourself away, go and sit in the toilet and
Yeah.
but now, unfortunately, now you're no good to me. Yeah.
I'm like, do we need to talk?
Put your arms out, put your arms out, put your arms out. Now I want you to breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in, breathe in. Hold it in, squeeze, 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 and let go, and let go. And in, squeeze, 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 squeeze it, and out. And now last one, and give it everything, in, more, 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 more. Squeeze everything, squeeze your face, squeeze your eyelids, squeeze everything you got. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And shake it off.
Okay.
Now you're awake.
What did that do? Tell us what did that do? I'll tell you what it does to me, but I want to hear what is it supposed to do to the body or to
it's monkey face. It actually takes you a little bit back into sympathetic, but it balances.
Yeah.
So you're now balancing your
You're not
parasympathetic and
just,
sympathetic. Yeah, and now your energy is back up again. Yeah. So if
but
you're gonna
it's,
go,
I feel centered. I
you
feel
feel, yeah,
calm, but awake.
yeah,
There's a calmness in my body. It's not that nervous energy that I think a lot of us are used to feeling as being energy. It's that we have this jittery, this nervousness. So right now it feels I'm calm, I'm centered. I don't feel like my nervous system is wired, but I feel like I could go get it, you know?
I have a
Yeah.
potential shutdown coming in 4 minutes. I don't think it will, but if it does and I
Who's doing
disappear,
that to you? Is that the AI? Because I want us to talk
no,
about AI.
it's not the AI. That's the Office. It's
That's the
the
office. Okay.
Microsoft.
Okay.
Microsoft
Well, I'll
being,
fix it
yeah,
up
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
when
If,
I
if I do, I'll jump back on.
yeah.
So yeah, the power of breath work is yeah, we've got the power, yeah, to make you as high as a kite.
Yeah.
Yeah, to make you relax, to release stress, to release tension, to have, yeah, yeah, and it's so powerful. You really should, if you're going to dig into it, get some guidance,
Yeah.
go do some courses, go to an instructor, because there is so much power.
Yeah.
I've had
Yeah.
people crying for hours, just
Okay.
from the
Let's
releases.
talk about that because there's a reason I'm a therapist and I can see, of course there's a physiological reason we don't breathe. I think
Mhm.
because we're like in stress mode all the time. But there's also when we start breathing, we access, right? Our hearts, we access different information in our bodies, and there can be sometimes some pain coming up, right? You've seen that
So
in your
if you
workshops
think
or
about what is an emotion,
yeah.
if you think what is an emotion in the body, what is it actually?
Energy, right?
And even more basic than that,
Information,
chemical.
molecules,
It's a chemical. Yeah.
chemical, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Your this thing here says, oh, there's a tiger coming. I need to feel a certain way. It creates a bunch of chemicals that puts it into the body. Yeah. And then you feel that, then you're like, okay, so now I'm feeling something. I'm scared, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy, or this is all chemicals. I'm sad. And when we put these chemicals into our system, when this amazing chemist of ours puts chemicals into our system, yeah, and keeps on putting them into our system, yeah, you have to know that this is just chemicals going into a system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
If you keep on putting chemicals into your pool all the time and it doesn't come out, your pool gets more and more and more of these chemicals. It doesn't get flushed out. Yeah, and
Yeah.
eventually you're sitting there in an acid bath, right? And the same thing happens in your body.
Yeah.
And when we don't breathe correctly, when we breathe, slower. So if we're breathing, we're not breathing slowly. Actually, we're breathing shallow. So we're not breathing with the diaphragm. It's not going in.
Mm-hmm.
We actually end up giving off too much carbon dioxide. So by giving off too much carbon dioxide, we breathe faster. Because our body doesn't know about, it has no idea about oxygen. It only knows about carbon dioxide. So the reason that you say I need to breathe is because you've got carbon dioxide
There's too
buildup.
much. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah. So now you go through this process of you snore at night. You have sleep apnea. You're eating carbohydrates, and every time you eat carbohydrates, what happens in your body is you become acidic. Okay, and that because you're acidic, the way the body actually gets you back to being the correct blood level, is you breathe more. So you're eating carbohydrates, you breathe more. You eat more carbohydrates, you breathe more. When you breathe more, you actually give off carbon dioxide. So you give off the
Mm.
carbon dioxide. Now you're not used to having carbon dioxide. So as soon as there's carbon dioxide, you're like, I need to breathe more. So it's an
The vicious
worsening
cycle.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So you go through this whole process of not breathing properly. But what's happening at a molecular level, or a cell level, is when you're breathing correctly, or when you're not breathing correctly, there's not enough carbon dioxide in the body. You have to change oxygen for carbon dioxide. So you're swapping it, right? When you
Mm.
breathe in, you use all the oxygen. You breathe out, you give off carbon dioxide. You take more oxygen. What's happening inside is the carbon dioxide is coming out, and you're swapping it over with the oxygen. Now, if the process isn't working properly, Okay, if that process doesn't go through properly, what actually happens is you only have half of the process happening. So you're only partially. So you don't feel as energetic. You feel lethargic. Your ATP doesn't work correctly. All these, but you don't move emotions because now the whole system is backed up. It's like your pool filter is clogged up. And it's not working. So when we start hammering the breath and when we start doing the breath,
Yeah. Oops, I lost you. Okay, we lost you for a moment there. You
the
had
joys of Microsoft.
the joys of all of that.
Decided I need an update. I
Yes,
patently had it.
it was insisting. It wants to upgrade you, Roy. It wants to bring you to the next
It's
level.
the universe is upgrading in every sense.
It sure is. Okay,
Yeah.
please
But
continue on with
yeah,
the
I
oxygen
was
and
talking
carbon.
about this idea that as we breathe, as we start to breathe properly, what happens is this whole system. It's a system we've had for millions of years.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and we've always breathed properly because we were running around chasing animals and we were much more fit. And yeah, we ended up breathing properly. We didn't eat all the carbs. Yeah, and as we go through the process of starting to breathe properly, now what happens is because it's balanced again, yeah, we actually start moving the chemicals, okay, which are the emotions. Yeah, and yeah, without fail, if I do a class of 15 people and we just do the basic Wim Hof breathing in that class, without fail, I'll have 3 or 4 people have a lovely emotional release.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it's yeah, we all need a good cry sometimes, right? Yeah, and yeah, yeah,
I vote for that for sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this is the way the body's way of saying, okay, now let's get rid of the stuff because what you're doing, yeah, is in the Wim Hof method. Not only, yeah, are you now moving, you're actually moving the chemicals around quite well. Yeah, you're then going into Wim Hof is, yeah, it's 30 or 40 breaths. Yeah, then you go into a breath hold, and then you breathe in and hold it afterwards. And what happens is you actually go into sympathetic, then parasympathetic, then massively into sympathetic. And when you go into sympathetic, what does the body do? Okay, when you go into sympathetic properly, okay, what the body actually says is, right, I need to be the best version of myself now. And it
Hmm.
gets rid of everything it doesn't need. And it doesn't need those emotions. It doesn't need the
So it's
bad
a
chemicals.
reboot. It's a reboot, like your computer's trying to do with you
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. It's rebooting the system.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
and that's yeah. I mean, I now run the morning clubs, and the morning club is from in the UK time 6 a.m. to 6:30, and we do the breath work, and that every day I can wipe clean all the emotions from the last day, or from and I can start the day with a clean bill of health in my mind. Yeah,
It's
and
amazing.
mentally, it's just so important. So
And
yeah.
it costs nothing. That's what's a beautiful, it's a beautiful thing. I mean, of course, I agree with you to get some support maybe and to learn how to do it, but and you offer that, and I'll put the link to everything you offer. But the beauty of it is it's our natural right. It's part of our system, our body technology, and it's something that costs absolutely nothing. And
As, yeah, as
it's
the as the,
one
lo-
of
the
it's
lovely
powerful.
Laura as the lovely Laura would say, we have to remember ourselves.
Yes, our dear
Yeah,
friend Laura,
yeah.
remember.
Remember, yeah, who we are. And I
Yeah,
think that's the power of the method. We're just talking about the Wim Hof method now,
yeah.
and other breath work as well. There is other breath work out there.
Yes, yes.
That's
Well, I did
yeah,
others. I did more Groff method and how did they call it? The hyperventilation. And I did a lot of that stuff and it changed me for sure. Like you were saying, it released stuff I didn't even know was in my body. It
yeah,
actually released, the first time I did the breath work like that, I had a nurse who was with me assisting me. She happened to be a nurse. And she was a nurse in childbirth. I don't know how you call it in English, but the nurses that take care of during the childbirth.
yeah,
Maternal, yeah, maternity ward. And she said while you were breathing, it smelled like pitocin. Pitocin is the chemical they use to stimulate the contractions in the mother.
yeah,
She
yeah,
said the whole room smelt of it.
yeah,
And I was like in my early 20s and I was discovering all, and I was like, oh, and I had relived my birth, in a
yeah,
sense. And
yeah.
So the body remembers, the body knows, and the body knows how to heal. And breath is like one of the
And then
most powerful ways.
to that point is the body will carry chemicals your whole life.
Yeah,
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 think about heavy metals, think about all the other things we're taking in. Your body will carry chemicals. If there's no reason to get rid of it, if the system is
yeah,
partially in balance,
yeah.
and even if that balance is like this, you will just carry those chemicals. So you probably were actually releasing the chemicals, right?
I was, for sure I
Yeah.
was. Yeah,
So yeah, otherwise, yeah. So it's a
beautiful.
powerful thing, this body, yeah. A
It
powerful thing.
is, and it's still something that we need to figure out because I believe it's it's still an unknown, our bodies and the mysteries of what we can do, and how we
Yeah.
can heal ourselves truly through our
Yeah.
breath and our mind.
Thinking
Yeah,
about Dr. Joe and all the things we were exposed to, right?
yeah,
So it's truly amazing. So
it
yeah.
is. This is only the first part. We need to talk more, so we've decided we're going to end for now. This is part one of my conversation with the amazing Titan, Roy Castleman. And we're going to offer a part two, Roy, because there's so much more I want us to talk about. Like, I want
Well, I
us
look
to,
forward to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to dive deeper into the technology of our bodies, but also the new technology of AI, which scares the shit out of me. We were talking about what frightens you. And
But
you have.
how has Chad been helping you?
Oh, Chad, well, that's what I want to share with everyone because you
Yeah.
helped me face my fear because I had this, and I want us to talk about how we can
Yeah, we get
navigate
there.
this
Yeah.
new reality, right? So, see
It's
you.
exciting times. It's
It's
exciting times.
exciting for sure. It's like jumping out of planes every day, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, thank you for this first part, Roy. I will see you soon. Thank you to everyone listening. You have all the information on Roy that I will post on the bottom of this first conversation. You're an amazing coach, an amazing healer. You're an amazing businessman, and you're someone who pushes people into their greatness.
So
So
thank you so much for having me, Catherine, and I look forward to part two.
let's do it. See you soon.
Cool. Bye.